my first beating in Feltham was another one. I busted an SO's eye open and had a fight with a few screws after they pressed the bell. But I was having that much of a fight, they split both my eyes open, busted my nose, and I was actually half doing the screws because where I was located, it was hard for them all to rush me because I was in between two baths on Partridge. So anyone that knows Feltham, right, I'm on Partridge, and they used to have two baths, and then the baths, when the door opened, the two baths were there, so the door would open, and then it closed on the, like, that's the two baths. So when the door opens, it opens like that, opens on the baths. So when the screws are trying to come into the shower room, they couldn't get to me because I was where the baths were. And for them to come in there, to open the door, which closed me off into a little strip. So there was only 2 or 3 officers could get in the space where the baths were. So normally there's 30 officers that jump on you, right, and they bend you up. But because they couldn't all jump on me, I had the space to fight 2 or 3 at a time. So it went on for about 5-10 minutes, and they were getting cut, eyes busted. I was getting cut, eyes busted, but they couldn't grab me, and that's their cue. That's their code. They grab you and bend you up, right, the CNR. Because they couldn't grab me and I could keep punching. It went on for a lot longer than it normally would have. Eventually, they've got me down. So when they've got me down now, there's something called the M1. It was called. It was like the walkway from the block to the wing. Right, so it was like half a mile or a quarter of a mile long. So they've got me bent up, all your arms are bent up, all me up and my back. And I had 30 officers, obviously, because there's I think it's 4 officers or 3 officers from each wing, and there's 10 wings. So when the riot bell comes, 3 officers from every wing come at the same time. So about 20, 30 officers. So they all kicking your head in. So I'm getting my head kicked in and punched. I'm getting kicked up the bollocks. I'm getting stamped on. I'm getting punched. I'm getting beaten. But in my eyes, I'm only 16, 17, in my eyes, by big grown men. Yeah. But they're not hurting me. It's not hurting. What they're doing isn't actually hurting me, because I'm full of adrenaline. I'm screaming, I'm fighting, trying to fight. They're bending me up, bending my arms back. Gets down the block, and basically what they do, they fold you up, put you on the floor, and then they exit one at a time, and then they all run out of the cell, and then they let you go, and you sort of unfold. It's like, oh. But I've jumped up, I'm like, come on then, bang, bang, bang on the door, come on. And I'm thinking to myself, why have you run off? Why have you run off? Why? And then the next morning they've opened the door and it's kicked off again. And then they brought my dinner, it's kicked off again. Every time I open my door, it just kicked off with the screws. So after a while they've come and said, Herbert, come on please, there's no need, we want to put you up on the wing. Like, calm down, we ain't got a problem with you. And then basically they said, look, if you behave yourself for 2 days, we'll put you up on, I think it was the best wing in the jail, Nightingale. So we'll put you on this wing if you calm down. So I said, all right, sweet. So then I calmed down and they put me back on the wing. And then I was on the wing for 3 months, and then they starved me up and sent me to Brixton then. And starved up means you get taken from a juvenile to an adult prison when you're not legally allowed to be taken there. Do you know what I mean? So I think I was 17 when I got taken to the Brixton. I wasn't allowed in YPs after that.
What was that like, arriving at the adult facility?
It was just arriving at the adult facility, mate. And I was one of them people that...
You knew a lot of people in there already?
Well, not so much the men, but I was game. So in my head, I was just... I'm fighting, innit? So who's the biggest, baddest, hardest person in there? I've got to stick it on them. I've got to have it. I was one of them really lad people, lemon, confrontational. So if I turn up, we're having an argument, we're having a fight, or I'm running things. And it was just that simple. I wasn't trying to be anything but the hardest villain in the environment. Yeah. And that's all I ever tried to be, you know, the biggest, baddest person in that environment. And I tried to live up to being that person.
So fighting adults then, how was that?
A lot easier than fighting kids.
Was it?
Yeah, because a lot of the adults, believe it or not, was all washed up, junkies, weak, like no real arsehole, scared of getting put down the block, scared of losing remission. They've got families, they want to go home. Yeah. I'm a kid, I didn't give a fuck. Do you know what I mean? So me, like, it wasn't an issue fighting, getting nicked going down the blocks. I spent 2/3 of every prison sentence down the block. Do you know what I mean? I was on wings, but always taken off the wings for GOAD, good order and discipline, for either bullying, violence, or controlling the drug culture. You know, so I always got moved off GOAD, ghosted to other prisons because of running a drug culture or sort of in cahoots with members of staff bringing drugs in. You know, there was lots of allegations. There's lots of officers got arrested throughout my incarceration, teachers, officers, solicitors, like everybody in every field's been arrested in connection with bringing drugs into prison, apparently for Marvin Herbert, but Marvin Herbert's never been arrested. So we done everything, we tried everything, we sort of experienced everything that you could do to get by in prison, survive in prison, and just sort of ride your prison sentence, you know. So there weren't nothing we never done in there.
Going back to your teen years then, what life and death situations were the craziest in your teen years?
They're all as crazy as the next one. There's no real defining one. They've all been...
Any stories you can tell us from the teen years?
Yeah, but I can tell you a story about every scar on my body. Like, what stories you want to know about?
All of them?
Well, all right. Oh, see, it's hard to put it into content of what one... So the one I will talk about, was I had a fight with... I don't know if there was 5 or 6 of them, but the 3 of them was renowned to be the hardest men on the rave circuit, doorman category-wise, right?
What year was this?
89, 90.
Summer of Love.
Yeah. 89, 90. It might have been 91. It was Ministry of Sand, right? So I'm at the Ministry of Sand. Like I said earlier, it was alleged that I was there to rob the manager of 80 grand. That was the story that got put out after I got chopped up. Because after I got chopped up, my older lot that I used to do the armed robberies and that with, and worked tongue-in-cheek with the security, because they was armed robbers that invested in drugs. Drugs got sold in the clubs. The doorman took a cut because they had blind eyes and all the sort of bollocks, right? So the doorman served me. Well, we had apparently, the words of another DJ, I'll have to, I don't know if I can mention his name or whether it's going to be connected to it, but another DJ, another MC, he was an MC at the time, but he said it was the best fight he's ever seen. And basically what's happened, I'm in the dance floor, someone's called me out, said security want to have a word with me. No, I'll tell you the story from the beginning. So
Please.
I'm buzzing out my nut. I'm robbing security vans, I'm doing all sorts of madness to generate financial revenue streams. So I'm pretty flush with cash. In them days it was no less than 5-10 grand out partying. So we're out with a load of reddies, loads of birds, loads of fun, having a giggle. I've got a Boulevard. I don't know if you've heard of a watch called Boulevard. Right, so it was one of the first ever gold watch manufacturers from America, right? And it was a little tank watch with a crocodile skin strap, and it was like my tool. Do you know what I mean? It was like, it wasn't a Rolex. To me, it was better than a Rolex. But like all these watches, everyone, the tanks, they used to wear the Cartier Santoses and things like that, the Rolex Submariners back in them days. But to me, this was a gold tank watch. To me, so leather. So I was like a proper chap with my gold watch, right? So I love this watch. So I'm in the toilet having a piss. A couple of geezers come up to me, ask me for the time, but I can't see because you used to take these, right? So,
yeah.
You know, and your eyes are going.
Yeah.
And you just can't see, and my eyes are over. trying to piss, eyes are going over the place. Geezer's gone, we've got the time, mate. So I don't get scared. I don't get scared of getting robbed. I don't get intimidated by things. So when he said, have you got the time? I've gone like that. And then he's pulled my arm back and I'm like, what are you doing, mate? And I'm trying to pull my arm. I thought, what's he doing? I thought, this cheeky cunt. So because I can't get my arm back, my instant reaction was just to undo my blade. So I've undone my blade, because it was all lock knives back then. So I've done my blade, turned around and just started stabbing him up. I said, what the fuck you doing, mate? What the fuck you doing? And then his mates come over, so I plunged his mate up as well. And then I've just cleaned the knife, come out, walked out in the toilet. So I've gone up to one of the bands, because you bear in mind, when I used to walk up to the gate of the door of the ministry, we weren't allowed to sell alcohol in the ministry at this time, right? So I used to walk up to the gate with 2 or 3 cases, not I weren't carrying, but people I was with carrying cases of champagne. But we'd get let in by the security, and we'd get left alone to do whatever we wanted in the nightclub by the security, right? So when I've come out of the toilet, I've gone to the security and said, mate, do me a favour, let matey know that there's 2 kids in there. I'll just serve them up, man. They'll try to fucking rob me, the cheeky little cunts. And I've gone on back onto the dance floor. What I didn't know was the 2 kids that I'd stabbed was plugged in to the security. One of the security's pals, brothers or something like that. So then they've gone back out and said, fuck, Marvin served up such and such, such and such. So then they've reacted. Get him out here, get him out here. As I've walked out, I've opened the door like that, and I've been chopped in the head with an axe. Right, so that chop there, I got chopped with an axe. Right, so I get chopped with the axe, and because I'm out of my nut. I've looked at his hand, and I see an axe in his hand. I was like, "You just hit me with that." I didn't know what had happened, right? And he's gone, bang! He's done me with it again, and I was like, "Fuck!" And boom. So we start fighting. Next thing, other people starts fighting. So now, them days, I was a very sort of cantankerous individual. I was very aggressive. So I went out prepared for ag. So I had a can of gas on me. We used to have CS gel. It weren't even spray back then, because the spray used to do you. So then we started going to France and buying the gel. No, I'm telling a lie. We got the gel from the counter surveillance guy in Bayswater. There was a counter surveillance spy shop, and the guy used to sell us this spray, the gel. So I've got the gel, I've got my spring-loaded Kosh, I've got a 2-shot Derringer and a blade, right? So that was just little the party pack going out, because you don't. Anyway, so I've got having a fight. Now I've tried to get the gun out. Boom! I've been hit with think the gun's gone. I've tried to get the blade out. The blade's gone. I've got to get the gas out. I'm getting done, right? So I'm trying to get these weapons out. Can't get them out, but I'm still fighting. But luckily enough for me, yeah, I've always been a fit guy. Like, even to that, I'm fit. Like, everyone knows me, knows that I'm fit and I can have a rat, and I'm in the gym. I'm disabled, one eye, one leg, and I'm still in the gym sparring professional boxers today, right? So back then I was extremely fit. I was twice as wild as I am today. So fight. All the other bouncers, they're all smoking, sniffing, puffing, partying. They're fucked. They can't breathe. They're blowing out their asses, right? So they're telling me, stand there, stay there. I'm pissing with blood. I'm like, what do you mean, stand there? Fuck that. So it's just off and off. It got to the stage where they've bear hugged me. One's bear hugged me, the others will grab my feet, and then they've run me through the dance floor, out the back door, and threw me out the back door and slammed the back door. So now, that's done. I'm covered in blood. I don't want to boot the door. I boot the door a little bit, but where we're backed up onto the Elephant and Castle, I didn't want to get anyone nicked. So I thought, if I carry on doing this, I'm going to get people nicked. Fuck it, let's go. And then the geezer's pulled up in a CLK Merc, and he's gone, mate, do you want, what's happening? I said, fuck. I said, can you give me a lift, mate? He went, yeah. I said, where? I said, Clerkenwell, because I lived in Clerkenwell at the time. So I've got him to drive me home. I've gone home. I had a 410, which is a single shot shotgun. No, a double shot 410 it was, up and over. So I had a double shot up and over, and I had a 32 revolver. So I've gone home, cleaned up, rolled a joint, woke the missus up. She's gone nuts. And then I've come out to get back in the car and go back down the ministry to blast these cunts up. And the driver's gone. So now I've got to go hospital. So I goes hospital, get stitched up, come out of the hospital. I've rung my pal, and I'll talk, because Lenny's fell off now, but Lenny Sanderford it was. I rung Lenny. I said, Lenny, mate, your pal's chopped me up last night, you know, it's a fucking liberty. I'm coming, yeah? I've got my things, I'm coming. Can you line them up? Let's have a meet, we've got to sort this out. So he said, yeah, sweet, what? Like, boom. So he's rung me back about a couple of hours later. He said, you need to come Woodford. So I said, all right, sweet, I'll be over. So I got the 410. I got, did I have the 410 or a pump? I can't remember if it was it was the 410, it wasn't a pump. It was the 410 and the revolver. Right, so I've got the 410 and the 32 revolver. So I've got in the car and I drove over there. He's over there now with a guy called Neville. So as I've walked into the house, I'm thinking, now, these are his mates that have served me up because he introduced me to these people. So I'm thinking, right, it's on with these lot now. So I've gone there and said, what the fuck, mate? He said, what the fuck? Why are you trying to rob John? I was like, what? What are you talking about, John? What John? So he's looked at Neville and said, I told you didn't know him, man. I said, what do you mean, John who? John who? He said, the manager of the ministry. I said, no, fucking manager in the ministry. I said, I've gone to the toilet. Geezer's trying to rob me. I served them up. I come out. I told matey they're in the toilet. And then fucking matey's called me out. I've come out and I've been chopped, mate. It's a fucking libby. So he's like, all right, we'll have to sort it out with these lot. So he got on the phone, sort it out. I said, no, I want to fucking see him now. I want to meet you now. I don't give a fuck. I'll meet you now, mate. Anyway, cutting a very long story short, they didn't meet me. I went wild for a little while. I went and got a pump action. Well, I never got the pump action. My friend Junior McDonough, rest his soul, he got the pump action. So then we just went out on a rampage for a couple of days, just looking to return whatever happened to me. All the people involved in me getting served up sort of hit the long grass and sort of disappeared for a little while. I caught one of them. The person that called me out, I've caught him in dungeons over Lee Bridge Road. So I've caught him in there, and as I went to shoot him, a couple of my mates have jumped in front of him. I said, what are you doing? I said, what are you talking about? He fucking called me out. He's got to go. And then a couple of my mates have come up behind me and bear hugged me. And they've took the gun off me. And they're like, oh, God, what the fuck, man? And they're like, Marv, he's with us, man. What are you doing? Like, you can't kill one of us. You can't. What's the matter with you? I said, what? And then he was trying to explain what had happened. Basically, now I know he had nothing to do with it. They've just said to him, do me a favour, go and get Marv. And he's just come in and got me. Like, he didn't know what was going to happen. Do you know what I mean? But at that time, I believed he did. So I tried to shoot him, and then for the grace of God, really, I got arrested. I got arrested for armed robbery. Yeah, because I was thinking, did I get arrested? No, I got arrested for the shooting first, and it was when I got out of the shooting, I got acquitted at the Bailey for a shooting of another bouncer down Camden Town. And when I got off of that, that's when I got chopped up. And when I got chopped up, I went to return it. Whilst I was in the midst of looking for the people that done me, I got nicked for an armed robbery and went away. And then that was the end of that till 15 years later that re-emerged, but in a harmonious way.
So people watching this, you must be absolutely gripped by Marvin's story. I'm going to put this out as a separate clip. So like I said at the very beginning, please go down in the description box and check out Marvin's podcast. The link is down there. All hard-hitting stories at the level of what you're hearing now. This is just absolutely mind-blowing. This is just some of the most just action-packed stuff we've ever had on the channel, and Marvin certainly knows how to tell a story. What
I would like to let your viewers know, right? I'm not actually here trying to glorify what I've done, right? What I'm trying to establish is the crazy mindset that I had for the insanity, barbaric behaviour that I displayed, and that it was not worth it. And if you're venturing down that road and think that you're going to become someone, then I have no doubt that you will achieve your goal. But what I can guarantee you is it won't be worth it when you reach your goal, right? Because I got to the top of the ladder, and I'm not saying it to be egotistical. I got to the top of the ladder, and that's why I'm here today. Because I got to the top of the ladder and realised that I've got to jeopardise my freedom and my life forever. And then my children, my kids, they're in bother, they're in trouble as well. Because when I go to prison, they suffer. If someone wants to reenact problems to me and they want to light my house up or shoot my car up or look to get me and they can't get to me, they're going to go for my kids. You know, someone attacked my youngest son over a stupid bit of shit. But my eldest son, I mean. You know, so they come unstuck rushing my son because they never done my son. Do you know what I mean? But the point of the situation is they attacked my son, and if I continued in that life, then it would have happened eventually to somebody. It would have been one of my nephews, one of my cousins, one of my sons, my missus, any of my daughters. Anything could have happened. Do you know what I'm saying? So that life, I led that life to get out of the piss hole. You know, I wanted out of that piss hole. I wanted out of that environment. So I'd done whatever it took to get out of that environment. And although it wasn't the correct avenue to take, it was the only avenue I felt I had. And right now, 21st century, I don't want to hear that people tell me that that's the only avenue they got, because it isn't. And right now, there's 1,000,001 avenues where you can make dough easy. It ain't like the 60s and the 70s and the 80s. Like now, all you need is an idea, a brain, a business plan, and a good network. And you got dough. Do you understand? I'm making dough. And I'll even say, Sean Atwood, you come out of fucking prison, skint. They confiscated every penny off you. And now, ex-offender, prison, fucking ecstasy importation, big gang, ping gang, fucking Sammy the Bull, all these fucking gangsters. And now you're legit making money. And then we could have done this 20 years ago. If he'd have stayed in his fucking stockbroking business, he'd be a multi-millionaire, if not a billionaire. But no, the ego, the materialism, and the money excites us. And the little men are little men. Yeah. So don't let your little man control your decision-making process growing up. And that's to the youngsters out there.
So many important lessons in your 20s. No common sense. The women coming up to you all night long. You're the man throwing the parties. That's a big part of it. And just don't get gangsteritis, young people. I go into prisons now. Marvin goes into prisons. And I tell the fellas, if you run in a drug business, you've got the skill set to not just the skill set to run a legitimate business, because you've got to have eyes in the back of your head and you're looking out for the cops and everything else. You've got a superior skill set to the other people who are running legitimate businesses, and you can succeed. And you just got to apply that. And it's hard work. It took me a long time to make it in selling books, and you just got to have perseverance. People get jealous, trip you up, keep going, keep going, keep going.
Never give up.
Yeah.
Never give up, mate.